see in the back of my van, I'm all full up with garbage. And that's from cleaning up my buddy's shop, so that's all done and clean and over with now. And so I'm now on my way to Ogden. I'm going to stop by the dump, get rid of all this garbage, and then I'm going over to finish helping a buddy move that I was helping move the other day. I guess now that I've got all this trash here in my vehicle, it's a good time to talk about reducing your footprint. You know, there's the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, and the most important one of all of those is reduce. And America, we've got this culture, I mean, not just America, I'm sure the whole world, just people. We have this problem just making crap disposable and not really thinking much of it. So I've seen these videos on YouTube of people have these tiny little mason jars and they can fit all the waste they produced in an entire year in that jar. And I thought that was a pretty admirable goal. It's something I'm going to probably work towards eventually. However, I also believe you pick your battles and you fight one at a time, because if you spread yourself too thin, you get overwhelmed and then it's all too much. So I recently quit smoking cigarettes after over 20 years, way too many. Holy shit, my windshield just cracked severely. Right in front of my eyes, I just watched that crack. Bummer, man. Yeah, rather than trying to take on everything all at once, I decided the quit smoking thing was a big one. It still is. I'm only just barely over a month in on quitting smoking, and it's not been easy. It's not too bad when I'm around people that don't smoke, but anytime I'm around cigarettes, I really have cravings. Another one that I've been doing, which has been a really big one, is I've recently gone vegan. Now, I've been mostly vegetarian. Even that's kind of a stretch. I've always been vegetarian in my heart. I've always been grossed out by meat. I don't like touching it. I don't like handling it. I don't like looking at it. I've always been grossed out when I bite into something and I see a vein, or like eating off of a bone has always just seemed like a Neanderthal to me. I just never could really bring myself to do it. I have to cut the meat off the bone. But I've been wanting to cut meat out of my diet completely, and I've been doing my best to. But the problem with that, and the challenge with that, is when you're somebody like me and you don't make a lot of money, and the majority of my meals come from charity. They're just, people buy for me, or I go and I'll eat with friends. And so the majority of my meals are gifted to me. You don't want to be the guy with a really picky diet when people are just trying to help you out. So that's been kind of a challenge, and I'm hoping that this video blog will help with that. I'm hoping I can make enough residual income off this that I can pay for all of my own food and finally be eating ethically within my own framework. I want to be eating completely vegan. As I've said before, I believe you vote with your dollar. And that's actually the reason why I wanted to go vegan, is because I don't want any of my money going to support a system that just treats animals like they're worthless. You know what I mean? If they're giving their life for you, I loved what the Native Americans would do, where they would pray to the spirit of the animal before they went on a hunt, and it was all very ritualistic. And whenever they made the kill, they thanked the animal for its sacrifice. They wasted nothing. I have no problem with that. I think that's very respectable. And I guess I go ahead and just put this out there, because there's people. There's different kind of vegans. A lot of people think that you just shouldn't kill animals at all, and that we've reached a point in our evolution where it's not necessary anymore. I kind of disagree, and I kind of agree. I'm sort of in the middle on this one, because I believe in the circle of life. I don't think that it's a bad thing for an animal to eat another animal. Okay, let's just assume, I believe this is a fact, but for people who don't necessarily, let's just assume that we are indeed all evolved primates, right? You could say that as primates, we are vegetarian. And you could also say that, like, if you look at all other carnivorous animals, in all the animal kingdom, you're not going to find another one anywhere that has to cook their food first before they eat it. Humans have to. Now, I've heard there's some people that can eat raw meat and it doesn't make them sick, but for the most part, our bodies are not equipped to eat raw meat. I think that's a pretty good argument that we're not actually carnivores. It's pretty good evidence that we're not omnivorous. However, things evolve. We used to be vegetarians. I think we have evolved into being omnivores. But I also think there's cycles to it, right? Like if you look at ancestors, hunter-gatherers, they ate meat in the winter months when you couldn't harvest, and then whenever you could plant your crops, that's what they would do. And they also ate that meat very sparingly. Well, I mean, there's also, you have to consider the environmental impact that, like, if you think about all the water and feed and land and all that kind of stuff and resources and gas and fossil fuels and all that stuff that goes into producing your meat, you may as well just cut all that out and just eat the plants that you're feeding to the cows. But all that aside, even though ethical reasons are a big part of it and environmental reasons are a big part of it, it's just emotional, and honestly, I am just kind of grossed out by meat. I like a lot of the wheat meats and the meat substitutes, the jackfruit, things like that vegans and vegetarians use as meat replacements. I like them better. I think they taste better. And, whenever you eat, when you smell food, right? When somebody talks about how good a steak smells or how good fried chicken smells, you're not actually smelling the meat for the most part. Most of what you're smelling is all the herbs and seasonings and spices and things like that went into that meat. Dairy, for a long time, I said would be a really hard one for me to give up, and still probably is the hardest. Not because of the milk itself, I can live without milk, but the big thing with those is cheese. Oh my god, I love cheese, and all the vegan cheeses I've tried, they're okay, but it's just not the same. So that's another goal I've outlined for myself that I'm still a hypocrite on, and it's still something that's going to take time and work. And so one thing at a time. The cigarettes and the vegan, those are my two major battles right now. But coming up really soon, one of the next ones is going to be definitely reducing my footprint as far as waste goes. So I guess that's it for right now, and I'll check in later.